Without further ado, I wanted to talk to you about my packing tricks and tips. Some of them are maybe kind of goofy, but they work for me. I've honed them over these 25 plus years of guiding and many family trips to Disneyland. And I just used the same packing list to go to New York for a week with my husband. So for me, it's pretty tried and true. And my dog is next to me just off screen. So I may have an assistant or a cat jumping in the suitcase, but we'll see if I can do this uninterrupted. So first I want to show you guys, before I overheat, this is what I look like when I go to SeaTac to catch my plane. So this is, I've got my scarf. I always take 1 or 2 scarves with me. I've got a top on, of course. I've got, since I'm in Seattle, I've probably got my raincoat on. I've got a leather jacket on, or sometimes I've taken just a denim jacket, and I'll give you the neck down view. I'm wearing leggings. Women in Europe really don't wear leggings or shorts. I don't pack shorts but on a flight day or a day where I'm on a train all day, that goes out the window for me, and I'm wearing leggings because they're comfy. But they also double as pajama pants for me if I've got a chilly night in a air-conditioned hotel room. So I wear leggings on the plane. And then I've got my sturdy walking shoes here. Fashion kind of has to go out the window because you're walking so much when you're traveling. Your feet really have to be comfortable. And face it, the locals are going to know from a mile away already that you're an American. You're not going to blend in just by wearing European shoes. So I wear super comfy, waterproof walking shoes. Unless it's the height of summer, when I might take running shoes, I've got my waterproof shoes because when it comes down to it, the bottom line about packing light for me is just taking 2 pairs of shoes, packing minimal clothes, and then doing laundry as I go. That helps me keep it light. I probably don't need to tell you all why you should pack light. Just think of the phrases: airline, losing luggage, escalator out of order, vintage, hotel, charming hotel, but their elevator doesn't work, or they don't even have an elevator. And it just makes you so much more mobile and flexible, and makes life easier traveling to just have one carry-on bag. And then I've got my one personal item here. So I'm going to shed some of my layers and show you how I do it. Let's get rid of the leather jacket. Okay, so here's my funky carry-on bag. And show you what's inside here. So this is one of my secret weapons. This thing is like 25 years old, but they still make it. It's from Eagle Creek, and it's called the Packet Reveal Garment Folder. And this thing is awesome. It compresses all your clothes and keeps them looking semi-ironed. So this actually is holding, I think I've got 6 or 7 shirts in here. I've got a dress, 2 pairs of pants, a skirt, and a swimsuit cover-up, all in this. So here is my husband's. Mine is a medium. This is a large. And when you use it, you're going to feel like you're an employee at the Gap or something. Because what you do is you open these flaps. You've got this board that you fold your clothes around. That's when you feel like you're working retail at Old Navy. You fold your clothes around that. Then you crank down these panels that close with Velcro, and it squishes all your clothes really small. So large works for men's clothes, medium works for mine. So inside this thing, I've got a couple pairs of neutral colored pants, just 2 pairs. They go with all my tops. I've got a solid color skirt. And then I've got like 6 or 7 tops. I take woven cotton that you can kind of smooth the wrinkles out of when you wash it, or rayon polyester tops. I don't take any 100% cotton t-shirts because especially when you're washing things by hand and hanging them to dry, they stretch out. So if you take something with a little like crew neck and you hang it to dry, it's going to eventually have a very deep revealing neck. I do like to take a t-shirt though. I take one that's a blend and it's that kind of ribbed fabric, and those seem to hold their shape better. And I do take a dress. You know, here's the one I've been taking this past year, and it's polyester or nylon, so it smushes down really small and it doesn't show the wrinkles. You know, that's not necessary, ladies, but I think it's nice to have for, you know, an evening out at the theater or a nice dinner or something. Here's one of my goofy things, but it works for me. This is my very wrinkled and crazy colored swimsuit cover up, kind of a tunic thing. So I like having that to go to a pool or go to the beach, but I also use it as my nightgown, so I don't need to take pajamas. So all that stuff was, excuse me, crammed into my little packing folder. Now you saw I had one scarf. I usually take two to kind of liven up and accessorize my very limited wardrobe. I take a belt because even if my pants stay up without a belt on day one, I like to wear them as many times as possible before I have to wash them. And by wearing number 5, they've kind of stretched out. Sometimes I think, oh, I've lost weight. And then I realize, no, my pants have just been worn 5 times. I've got a little bag with half a dozen pairs of socks, got half a dozen undies and another bra in here. Guys, no laughing. I had a tour member in my last group, a male tour member, who was teasing me that he had felt obligated to bring 2 bras because they're on my packing list. You can adapt this for men. Then my second pair of shoes is sandals. I'm using Born brand right now, but I've had good luck with Dansko, Naturalizer, Tevas. Again, they just, for me, they have to be super supportive. I had a stress fracture a few years ago in my foot, and my awesome podiatrist taught me that if you try twisting a pair of shoes from front to back, the less they twist, the more supportive that means they're going to be. And it that rule of thumb has worked out well for me when I've been trying on new shoes. So here are my other bits and bobs. I do take a little mini umbrella. They're easy to buy in Europe too, because inevitably when it starts raining, these vendors will magically appear with small umbrellas for sale. But even though I have my raincoat, I find that when I am traveling and, you know, trying to find addresses, trying to look at the scenery, wanting to talk to my travel partners, I find it's easier to have an umbrella instead of that kind of tunnel vision of wearing a raincoat hood. I've got a sun hat for the summer, or in the winter, I would take a knitted cap, you know, a beanie and gloves, or if I'm going to do any mountain or cold climate travel. I do take a purse. I take a crossbody bag, either leather or nylon, a little harder for a pickpocket to grab. Now I'm under my pants unseen, I'm wearing a money belt, and I do always wear that with the bulk of my cash, 1 or 2 more credit cards, and my passport. But I don't want to dig down in there every time I want to buy a coffee or something. So I do carry a wallet in my bag, in my purse, with just my day's supply of money and 1 credit card. And then if those were stolen, it wouldn't ruin my trip. You know, I've got the bulk of my funds under my clothes. Now here's how I handle my toiletries. I've come up with a system. I'll say first that my family has my little medicine bag is often heavier than my other stuff, but I seem to attract any sort of odd ailment or injury when I'm traveling. And you could buy anything you need in Europe, whether at a pharmacy or a grocery store, a dollar, a euro store. But based on all my past experiences, I take like an essential, sorry, that's my helper. You see, neighbors are getting pizza or something. I take just like an initial dosage, anything I might need. and then I refill as I can. Okay, hopefully she'll stop soon, you guys. Okay. She looks and sounds like a very scary Great Dane, but she has a part of a Chihuahua. Okay, so here's my system. I've got this dock kit that I have all my stuff in that I just carry to the bathroom all the time. I've got my, if you take solid antiperspirant, it doesn't count as one of your liquids. I've got my little makeup bag with a magnifying mirror because they often don't have those in your hotel bathroom. I've got earplugs. Those are a lifesaver in a noisy hotel room, or if you're trying to sleep on the plane, or if your partner snores. I've got little individually packaged alcohol wipes. I use one of these every day to wipe down my phone because, as we've all heard by now, our phones are one of the germiest things around. So I do that. And this is a little trick I've learned. I take this little mini travel size spray bottle, just empty. I fill it with water when I need it, and I can either use it to kind of refresh my hairdo or to kind of iron my clothes. Sorry. If your clothes get wrinkled, you can just lay them on your hotel bed, spritz them with water, and kind of iron them firmly with your hands, and it really works well. So these are the things I'm using daily. Then I've got my Ziploc bag with all my kind of emergency supplies. So I've got denture cleaning tablets. Even if you don't have dentures or an oral appliance like I do, these are nice to have for cleaning your reusable water bottle occasionally. You just plop one in and leave it to soak overnight. If you get motion sickness, I've got these little acupressure wristbands that have a little bead that you sit in a specific spot on your wrist, and it helps alleviate motion sickness. I have these wonderful little, along with all my other regular Band-Aids, you're not going to be able to see this, but there's something called a toe tube in case you get blisters or calluses or otherwise sore toes. It's a little fabric tube lined with silicone that you slip over your toe, and those are wonderful because you're going to be walking so much on your travels that your feet have to be comfortable. I've got the world's smallest sewing kit because you never know when you're going to have a wardrobe emergency. I've got a Tide pen because I always spill chocolate gelati and red wine, and those things work really well. And so I've got all these kind of things that I don't need every day in a separate bag, so I'm not carrying them all into the bathroom. I've got a sleep mask because if you're like me, I need it pitch dark to sleep, and hotel rooms aren't always. Now here's my travel info that I'm carrying with me. I've got, it's kind of a ritual for me the night before I go on a trip that I get out an X-Acto knife and I slice out the individual chapters I'm going to need from my guidebooks. Because if you've got a giant Italy guidebook and you're only going to Venice and Rome, you don't need to carry the whole chapter on Naples with you. So I have these little individual chapters. I've made a little cover for them out of a file folder with a little the slide grip binding thing from a report cover, and so I can just slide the chapter I need to use that day into that, and then it doesn't get all beat up. Then I've got maps. I still do like carrying real maps. Now, I really like to use a washcloth. What you can do, European hotels don't usually provide them. They consider that kind of a personal item. So if you like to use a washcloth, just pop into the first Euro store, like a dollar store or a grocery store, go to the household cleaning products, and they sell these things really cheap. They're just microfiber cleaning cloths, and then they actually dry faster than a terry cloth washcloth. So that's nice to have. And then I often just leave it behind at my last stop. I also take this pack towel. That's a brand. I know you can get them at REI and places like that. It's a microfiber towel. Mine is probably 25 years old, so it's wrinkled and old, but it still works. The nice thing is that it keeps absorbing water even when it's wet. So you can use this when you do hand laundry in your room. You can roll your wet laundry up in that, wring it out. It helps it dry faster. Or if you're going to the beach or a pool and there's no towel provided, you've got your towel right there. I take one of these little braided clotheslines, which is handy for hanging up your hand washable things to dry. I take a swimsuit even if I don't have specific plans, because I don't want to miss out if I ever have an opportunity to go sit in a hot tub or go to the beach or something. And ladies, this is your opportunity to be bold. See, I've got a bikini. I'm being bold. European women of all ages, shapes, sizes wear bikinis. So go for it. This is your chance to, embrace your body shape. Okay, here's something else weird I take. Obviously, I have pets, and it takes me about a week to not still have pet fur on my clothes. I just take some old labels from Amazon shipments or something, and I just throw them in my bag, and I've got them as kind of my lint roller. I've got a couple little bags of jewelry. Obviously, I don't take the precious stuff, but I like to be able to dress up my limited wardrobe. Okay, and I started doing this year. This is maybe cheating a little bit, but I've started taking flip flops, which pack down to nothing. They are really handy if you do go swimming. And they serve as bedroom slippers around the hotel. So I was happy to have those. And I've got them packed in a little packable shopping bag, which even though you have these other bags, is still so handy if you're shopping for a picnic, you're carrying your dirty clothes to a laundromat or whatever. I always have one of these. And then at the bottom, got the tried and true collection of Ziploc bags, which come in handy for so many things, including doing laundry in your room if you don't have a plug in your sink. You can make it into a little mini washing machine, throw in your socks, fill it with water, give it a squirt of shampoo, seal it up, and shake it around in there. You got your mini washing machine. So that's it in my suitcase. And then I do have a day bag that I'm carrying on the plane with the stuff that I want close at hand. And I've got a few things in here. I've got one sweater that I carry. In off season, it's wool. In the summer, it's cotton. I've got a little bag of electronic stuff. Take a very long charging cord for your phone, because your outlet will often be far from your bed or your nightstand. And if you have a modern or recently updated house like I do, where there are USB ports in your electrical outlets at home, I always have to remember, since I don't use them at home, take the little electrical pluggy end. And then you do need plug adapters too, because the outlets have a different shape. So be sure to look up the shape of whatever countries you're going to. In Europe, it's one with tiny round prongs. If you're going to Britain, it's this big honking thing with 3 big prongs. Then I've got a bag of the meds and toiletries that I want to have with me on the plane. Again, I'm just taking like a day's supply of any sort of rescue medication. I've got a snack bag. Always have to have snacks with you. I've got a fold up inflatable neck pillow. I know you do see people with those memory foam ones, but then you're carrying that thing around for 2 weeks or 4 weeks or whatever. So I like the flat kind. I've got my little bag of liquids for TSA. And you can probably get by with just a phone, since I'm working when I travel. I've got a little tablet, and I do like to have a mini keyboard with me. And I found that typing on that little thing is fine, but navigation is hard. So I have decided it's worth the space to carry my computer mouse with me. So I've got a Bluetooth mouse. I've got some masks. I don't know about you, but I will probably wear one in airports for the rest of my life. And I've got a little notepad and pen, which is handy for communicating with people who don't speak English. I've got a little old-fashioned fan. It packs down to nothing. If you're traveling in the summer, it's nice to have. And then I've got my sunglasses. I know some people talk about taking an extra pair of glasses if you're wear prescription glasses like me, but I don't bother. I just have a picture of my eyeglass prescription on my phone in case there's an emergency and I need another pair. So that is pretty much it for me. That's how I do it. And I hope that you all have maybe learned a new little trick or two. If anyone would like my detailed packing list, just email me and I will send that right out to you. And yeah, I hope that you will be able to pack light with me sometime soon, either on